Here is Sherbotics, and you are listening to the first episode. In this episode, I'm going to tell you some awesome news, introduce you a great book and a great movie. Besides, in this episode, you can listen to an interview with a successful startup in Montreal. If the quality of the voice is awful or there are other problems, I'm sorry. I promise you, I will be better with such experiences. And I should mention again that all data, links, or pics of this episode are available on sherbotics.com. It is better to start first with news and articles. I try to select the most interesting robotics or AI news in this month. From the next episode, I will cover the news or articles of weeks. The first article is written by Rodney Brooks, who was a professor of robotics at MIT University. The title of this short article is An Inconvenient Truth About AI. AI won't surpass human intelligence anytime soon. For me, this article was so engrossing because almost all the people believe AI is near the human brain, and social media are telling some fake news about the real story behind the technology. This article tries to show limitation of AI with simple examples. In general, the article tells a short history of AI and its application from the 1960s until now. In addition, there is a clear graph about the history of AI that you can see in the original article. According to this article, now is the third wave of major investment in artificial intelligence. The first and second eras of AI occurred in the 1960s and 1980 respectively. The gold sentence about applications of AI in human history is, regardless of what you might think about AI, the reality is that just about every successful deployment has either one of two expedients. It has a person somewhere in the loop, or the cost of failure is very low. It means if you analyze the AI applications, you will find some of them, like self-driving systems, need a person to supervise them, or in some cases, we accept the efficiency of AI is somehow good. Moreover, when you want to talk with a robot, you will adapt yourself with it, and this factor doesn't mean that its performance is perfect. We can conclude that you should not ask your AI system what it can do for you, but instead think about what it has tricked you into doing for it. The researchers of the University of Waterloo developed a real-time lyric generation technology to inspire songwriting. The name of the system is Lyric Jam. This system supports the songwriting process. When artists play musical instrument, the system listens to the audio stream via a microphone and generates lyric line in real time to match the music being played. The process of the system is not to write a song for the artist. Instead, this system will help artists to realize their own creativity. The system generates poetic lines with new metaphors or expression, potentially leading the artists in creative direction that they haven't explored before. This system works based on the neural networks, and you can test inside their official website. In my opinion, it is so nice. Also, in the future, such system replace with songwriters. The pandemic has presented both problems and opportunities for robotic company. You think, what areas are the top 10 trends and prediction 2022? Follow me to tell you a summary of an article in this regard. The first one is smart factories. It can be expected that the industry will go further in automation, and operations will be faster, more efficient, and more precise, with fewer inconsistencies. The second one is collaborative robots or cobots. It is projected that next year, the rate of using cobots to have more safe and more efficient environment will increase. Also, due to recent advancement in programmable software, this industry is expected to increase significantly by 2025. Number 3, using of new ML-based algorithm in industrial robots is going to rise instead of pre-programmed robots. Robotic opportunities expanded is the fourth one. The need for robots has risen during the last decade, especially in the COVID-19 pandemic. It will continue to grow at an exponential rate in the coming decades. Number 5, each new technological advancement will ultimately be incorporated into new robotics and automation system designs and models. So, in the next year and after that, the technologies will play their main role in robotics. For example, 3D sensors, ultrasonic technologies, and infrared cameras. Number 6 is labor shortage and robotics. In near future, many jobs will be replaced by robots, especially during the COVID-19 pandemic. We had seen that humans could not work as normal. Number 7, the next item relates to the increasing adoption of agile robots by consumers and retailers. Number 8, the contactless service is the most important predictions for artificial intelligence in 2022. For example, some stores may let customers do their shopping using self-shopping techniques, such as virtual trail work, scanning, and price tag checking. Number 9, it is anticipated that by the year 2022, generative AI is used by larger business to create three-dimensional and two-dimensional pictures in the marketing industry for product depiction and brand representation. Right now, designing fake pictures or videos is easier than previous, and it can help business to have better visual representation based on the amount of interest. And the last one is learning through reinforcement. Reinforcement learning has been proved to be useful in the development of many real-time applications. As the last article, I am interested in talking a bit about the humanoid robot of Tesla that was introduced on the 19th of August at the end of Tesla's AI Day. This autonomous bipedal general-purpose humanoid robot is known as Tesla Bot. After dominating the electric vehicle market and having a huge impact on space with reusable rockets, Elon Musk announced their new androgynous or partly male and partly female humanoid robot that will be built next year. This robot will be able to perform basic repetitive tasks with the aim of eliminating the need for people to handle dangerous or boring work.
Yeah, but I think essentially in the future, physical work will be a choice. If you want to do it, you can, but you won't need to do it.
At the first sight, when I heard the news of Tesla Bot, I appreciated Musk again because I always express my gratitude for his influence on the world. However, after watching the Musk official presentation, I was wondering, is it possible or it's just a show?
Basically, if you think about what we're doing right now with the cars, Tesla is arguably the world's biggest robotics company because our cars are like semi-sentient robots on wheels. And with the full self-driving computer, essentially the inference engine on the car, which will keep evolving obviously, and Dojo, and all of the neural nets recognizing the world, understanding how to navigate through the world, it kind of makes sense to put that onto a humanoid form.
Without any doubt, Elon Musk is a smart man, not only in idea, but in marketing. He knows how to change his game and play with social media. Okay, let's a little talk about this news that shook the world of robotics. Recently, I read an article from Ivan Ackerman, senior editor at IEEE Spectrum, that was really near to my opinion. In Sherbotics.com, I put the original link that you can read whole article. The title of the article is Elon Musk has no idea what he's doing with Tesla bot. Yes, in a simple way, Musk has underestimated the process of building an intelligent humanoid robot. When we talk about rockets or electric cars, we are talking about technologies that existed, and companies of Musk had tried to improve them. But when we are talking about humanoid robots, we should be careful because unlike rockets or cars, humanoid robots aren't an existing technology. This type of novel markets need an ambitious vision plus a team of clever people and sustained financial investment. In addition, it is the case that companies such as Boston Dynamics and Agility Robotics are working on human robots, and you can see there are still lots of challenges for solving. Building Tesla bot until next year is possible, but I think that it won't look like the exact concept of Musk's presentation. It is a little naive idea to think that Tesla can build a far better human robot in comparison to other companies like Boston Dynamics. Maybe Musk think if other people were cleverer or work harder or invest more money at the problem, then we would have had a general purpose human robot already. We should stay until next year to see that how will be Tesla bot. Maybe I'm wrong, I don't know. In this episode, I talk with Michael Proult and Alex Benjamin from iFall, a startup in Montreal. Michael is CEO and Alex is the lead AI developer. The iFall enhances the vision of visuality impaired people affected by age macular degeneration by combining augmented reality and AI. In their startup, at first, an AI algorithm analyzes patient's optometric data and determine how he or she see the world. Then their XR platform works iteratively with the AI algorithm to determine the best visual enhancement for patients' need. Finally, the AI and XR platform work together to analyze user behavior and fine-tune the visual enhancement. Therefore, patients' glasses get smarter and more accurate with time. Let's go to hear this short interview. At the first question, please tell a brief explanation about your startup, its working area, and who is your product the most useful?
So what we're doing at iFall, we're helping people affected by age macular degeneration, which is affecting people that are mostly a little bit later on in their life. And basically, it's the first cause of low vision in North America and Europe. And it causes some blurred spots, some dark spots, and the problem is not fixable by your regular glasses. So we came up with a new way of doing things using augmented reality to try and modify what they see so that we can address their vision based on their own symptoms. So there's a big component that is understanding what they see to tailor really the experience for each and every individual there.
Thank you very much for your explanation. As I understand, mainly your startup works on a vision enhancement, especially for age-related degeneration. I mean, it try to enhance the vision ability especially for age people. Is true?
Exactly.
That's great. And I want to know that what motivates you to start this company, or in the better word, why did you choose to enter in this particular area?
So a couple of years ago, I had some health issues. I got to the hospital and I was hospitalized for about a week, and I got a diagnosis of multiple sclerosis. I was lucky enough that there's a lot of technology, a lot of developments in this sector to help me be straight on my feet, and everything's working well for me. But unfortunately, it made me realize what my grandmother was going through at the time, as she had macular degeneration, and there was basically nothing that could help her on the market, and she was just left to herself. She spent her whole life helping others, and when it was time to help her, there was nothing else for her. So this is why we started the company, to try and tackle this huge problem that affects millions of people in the world.
Great. So based on your real life experience, when you thought about how to solve the problem, of your grandmother, as you told, so you think that you can be, you can expand your experience in this regard to be more useful for many people.
Exactly.
And before, in previous times, this is your first startup, or you had failed a startup before? I mean,
So myself, it's my first startup. Alex has more experience than I knew in the sector, though.
really, and I'm really glad to know about your previous experience in this regard.
So yeah, as Michael was mentioning, I'd done a stint with a startup before. A colleague of mine and I founded a startup, and it was loosely based around three-dimensional medical imaging. So being able to essentially recreate 3D structure of your internal organs and then project that structure onto the patient for invasive procedures or operations or anesthetics, things like that. So it's this idea of being able to actually see what's going on, so that you actually have some feedback, some visual feedback. It didn't pan out. We did it for a couple of years and didn't gain enough traction. There was not enough money. I was also getting my PhD at the time, so there were other challenges. But that was loosely the idea. It's a good experience, but didn't work out. So
It's good, and absolutely, I think that you got a really, as you told, a really good experience about your previous times, and I think it's really helped you now in the current, and you can use it.
yeah, definitely.
Really interesting. And a little, I want to know, because for many people who wanted, they are love to start a company, to having a startup, they wanted to know more about the challenges, because beside the success that you have or other startup may have, there are a really most important part that relates to the challenges, the failures, and something like that. At first, I want to know that what what were your challenges? At first, this question I want to know that what were your challenges when you wanted to establish this startup? I mean, about the financial, about any aspect that you wanted, collecting group, hiring, and something like that.
So indeed, the financial is a big challenge when you start a company from scratch, trying to get some funds together to hire people and to be able to do some development, because we all know development costs money. So that was indeed one of the big ones, but also the biggest one, I would say, the thing that really focused on at the very beginning was validating at that if we were to develop this technology, there would be a market that would be there. And I was not just in my own mind in a silo thinking about my grandmother, but the market would respond well. The different expert in the medical field could be interested in providing this kind of technology to their own patients, and that the market would be ready to get such a device. So that was really a big point that we addressed really early on, and got some partnership with some interesting players in the industry, such as the School of Optometry of the University of Montreal, which is one of the great partners that we've got from the very onset. Now we've got a couple more, such as the Quebec Association for Macular Degeneration, that is this association for all the people that have this disease in Quebec. They're really excited about what we're doing, and it shows that exactly there's a market for it, and it's not just tech for being tech. It's not just something cool that we're doing, but it's something that people really want to buy and are ready to spend money on, because that's, at the end of the day, that's really what is a business. It's not just tech, it's a way to make profit also.
So as you told, and I think the financial at the start, and you absorbed have obtained the many trustworthy about the people who wanted to invest, or people who, as a customer, I think is the main challenge for you, at least. Yeah.
Yeah.
And based on these challenges, that is normal. And as you told behind your words, and in my opinion, one of the problem and challenges for new startups, besides their technology, is how they wanted to tell others that, okay, we have this technology, please buy from, because the final thing is that you wanted to buy your technology and be not only beneficial for the society, but to earn money. It's normal for every company, every startups. So based on your experience, as you mentioned, and right now, you think that where do you imagine that this startup will be in the next years, especially next 5 years, for example, or next 10 years?
We're in the medtech sectors. It's a little bit longer compared to a lot of technical startup where you just have to do something and throw it in the market and people will buy it, or even better, sell it to the market and then do it. Because we've got this medical sector, we need to go through clinical approbation. We need to do clinical trials, all the ethical committee stuff, and then we are able to finally start and getting to the market. And then it's long sales time with hospitals, with clinics. So what we're seeing for the next 5 years or so is really going to be that we're going to be at a point where we can start these big challenges and having a product really in the clinics, and having some problems with logistics, for example, where something was unheard of, or something was not well planned out, because this is going to be what's going to happen for all startups. There's going to be mishappens in every company. But right now it's mostly development and approbation. But having a product on the market and being able to fix these problems, where the operational side is going to be leading a little bit the way.
Yeah, and I know that the startups like you have a really the bright future, because they are really novel. And I hope and I like to see the progress of your startups like you, because they really enhance the quality of life. And as a not as a general question, I'm interested to know that if, as a startup, if you wanted to choose one biggest failure, for me, failure is more interesting than success, because I know that you are success at really good works and many. But if you wanted to choose your biggest failure, which thing you can tell me and about your failures, and besides success, your works.
Yeah, so one of the things, I mean, you're right. So there's a bunch of successes, a bunch of failures. Not really a failure, but yeah, it is what it is. So one of the things we cannot do as startups, and this is true for most startups, is that we cannot compete with the open market for talent in terms of pay. Oftentimes, what happens is that people who are talented get the market rate, and they end up at big corporations sometimes, or other startups that have the capability to give them market pay. So recently we had an excellent employee who was one of the earliest people to join the company, who did most of the development for our product, and he left. And no hard feelings. He's wonderful. We wish him all the luck. But that's certainly a blow to our development and our company, that we could not compete to keep that kind of talent in house. So we've since found someone else, but it always hurts a bit to lose good people. It's harder to find. So.
Yeah, thank you. And right now, how many people work in your startups? I checked your website, but I wanted to ask from you directly that. And for me, the number is not very important. It's okay, you tell me, but for me, it's little more important to know that with startups like you, which you are interested to, which type of skills to hire people with type of skill are really beneficial for you.
Yeah. So as it stands now, we have the majority of our focus. I would say nearly 70% is dedicated to tech development, and the other 30% is dedicated to business, finance, operations. And we are currently 5 full-time, 2 interns, and we are hoping to have 2 more UI UX designers join us. So we potentially would be a maximum of 9 people in the company. And primarily, as it stands now, the stage that we're in now, the majority of the emphasis is, of course, on tech development and validation, and in parallel also fundraising, because if there's no money, there's no business. So eventually, we'll see that pivot a little bit. We'll get into more regulatory and the medical space as well.
In terms of skills, I would add also that there's some skills that are going to be important across the board. It's going to be true for technical people, but also for non-technical, where you're going to need some creativity and some wit in what you're doing. We need some people that want to take basically no resources and turn it into something. And that's the kind of people that don't fit everywhere. It's often going to be the outsiders, the people that have some frustration in them to some extent, because things are not going fast enough at other places, or things are going to be too complex in terms of structures. These are really the kind of people that we're looking for, that are able to make a thing in the universe and want to party with us and have some fun doing something that's going to change the life of people and have a big impact on such a project.
Yeah, I think if I wanted to confirm you, I mean, I think that as I understand, for you, is it better to have a teammate that is not only patient, but is multitask and could handle many challenging situations. And because in startups, people should not be good to many tasks. And also, as you told, they should be patient because it's normal, and they should think about the future, that how they wanted to change the society, the technology, and many things. And for as Alex told, for the the tech development sections, I mean the part that 70% you told that people works, mainly their works are based on the working or in improving the algorithm, artificial intelligence algorithm. I mean, for your works, or no, they may be other parts. And
That's twofold. I think there's the one aspect which is definitely the algorithms, which is the predictive side of things. We want to be able to know what people are seeing with the disease that they have, but there's also equally important the correction or the enhancement side of things, which is implemented through augmented reality. So we also have a major push and effort in that space. How do you take these predictions and do something to the image and display it to the user so that it's actually better? It's a better visual experience for them. So we have both those arms that happen together.
really good. And as a, I mean, a really, I think, deep question. Really, I mean, really beneficial for many people, for people that who listen to this podcast. I want to know that if you, based on your experience, I wanted to ask both of you that if you want to tell us one piece of advice to people who love to enter to this area, to have a company, and to be entrepreneur, especially in the artificial intelligence and robotic, which advice you have for them?
Yeah, so I think my background being in computer vision and medical robotics, the thing I would say and I would emphasize a lot is that there's nothing wrong with doing science cool stuff because you love doing it. There's nothing wrong with that. But that is not the criteria for a good business. A good business is, by definition, something where there is an exchange of money for something in return. And that requires people to want to pay for and want what you're developing. It doesn't have to be a product. It can be anything. It could be algorithm. It could be an idea. It could be whatever. But just playing around with the cool and up and coming ideas in machine learning and robotics does not make for good business. It makes for good science, and it makes for really good advancements of our understanding of things. But that is not the criteria for a good business. So pay attention to that when formulating a business.
really good. And how about you, Michael?
The biggest advice I would give is about the people that you surround yourself with. Um, it's great. I love people have big egos. I myself have a huge ego. But at the end of the day, you need to set it aside and surround yourself with people that are better than you are. And this is how you're going to be able to have great teams. The people need to be able to work together. But if you are the most intelligent person in the room, you have a problem because it means that no one can push forward the company. My goal personally is to be the dumber in the room at all time, and that is not something I think is so easy to do because at a lot of points you're going to have an ego going in where you might feel left out, and it's totally okay. At some point, if you want to start a company, people need to be better at what you are than you do. And one of my mentors um, told me that basically the job of a CEO is to be the incompetent in chief. And this is what it is, because you're going to hire someone in marketing that needs to be better than you in marketing. You're going to hire someone in tech that needs to be better than you in tech. You're going to need to hire someone in HR that needs to be better than HR. And everywhere you're going to hire people that are going to be better than you, and might as well start soon with your co-founders and with your mentors. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to do it when it's going to be employees that are going to tell you, hey, this is what we should do. If you never practiced having this humility to listen to people that are smarter than you are.
Really, you mentioned a very important thing, that it's come from your experience, that it's better. And you told a word, that a sentence that was really interesting, that if you are with the people or in a room that all are better than you should leave that room. And it's really, I mean, it's really good. And I know that it's based on your experience. Both of you told really interesting words for people who wanted to be entrepreneur. And I want to tell that thank you very much for putting your time, and for your consideration, you sharing with us about your many good things, many notes and valuable experience. Thank you very much, and have a good time. And I hope that see you that progress every day and every day.
Thank you very much for having us. It was a blast.
Thanks so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Bye now. Bye.
We reached my favorite part of the podcast, that is reviewing a good movie in summary without spoiling it. For the first episode, I chose a movie that I saw recently, and its name is I Am Mother. I Am Mother is an Australian movie in the genres drama, mystery, and science fiction. This movie is a Netflix one that was produced in 2019. Grant Espature is the director of I Am Mother, and the main actors are Clara Rugaard, Hilary Swank, and Raz Brain. This 2 hours movie has a score of 6.7 on the IMDb website. This story follows a time, maybe in future, that almost all humans are extinct by a robot. A humanoid robot called Mother tried to repopulate the Earth, and hence it protects an embryo to be a genius girl for the ideal future world. In this movie, this girl is called Daughter. Also, the Mother is actually a vast AI system, not just a single robot. Basically, the scenes happen in a bunker or underground research facility that is a fully modern area for the Daughter and Mother. During the movie, you can see how a huge challenge make them robots and human enemies. I prefer letting you watching this good movie. If I go further, it will spoil. In I Am Mother, you can find a lot of fascinating details, not only in visual effects, but in the story. Moreover, the Mother has the style of modern robots, and you can accept it easily. I suggest this movie for all robotics lovers. This weekend is your turn to watch it, and if you like, share with me your opinions. In the final section of this episode, I want to introduce a great book. The book is entitled The 100-Page Machine Learning by Andrei Burkov. Dr. Burkov is a machine learning expert based in Canada. I think originally from Russia. The book cover is black with a really simple design. This book is distributed under Read First by letter principle. So maybe the free PDF version of the book is published deliberately. I strongly suggest you read this book if you are a beginner or expert on ML, because almost all important topics of ML are covered within just 135 pages. This book consists of 11 chapters. After the preface introduction of the various types of ML, it provides notation, definition, as well as fundamental algorithms in the first pages. In these chapters, you will learn some definitions and algorithms such as regression, decision tree, support vector machine, blah, blah, blah. Basic principles of ML, neural networks, deep learning, supervised learning, and unsupervised learning methods are other subjects of this book. All in all, as I told, reading this book helps you to get useful knowledge in ML with the lowest time. The absorbing factor of this book relates to a simple explanation. If you are zero in ML, don't worry, you can read it and enjoy it. The figures are colorful, and inside the book there are some QR codes. By scanning QR codes, you will get a link to the book's wiki website and you will access additional materials. This book is available on famous websites like Amazon. If you like this book, buy, read, and learn. Thank you very much for listening this episode. I tried to make a useful episode for you. I know there are still some issues, but I'm so interested to hear your opinions. If you like this podcast, don't forget to share it with your friends. Have a great week. Bye bye.